ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते. Describing the characteristics or the natural traits of a wise man, in the first verse, Lord Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman, when all the desires residing in the mind, when all of, as we discussed yesterday, desires cannot be given up. Desires have to go away. If they choose to go away, that's well and good, because we cannot give up the desire. For a very simple reason that desire just arises. We don't have a choice in not desiring. We don't have a choice in not entertaining a certain thought. And therefore, desire is something that arises. When would it arise? Whenever I feel a sense of lack, insufficiency, incompleteness with myself, definitely there is going to be a desire to become complete or become sufficient. If I feel I am unhappy, there is naturally a desire for becoming happy. So we cannot will to give up desires. Then what is meant here when it is said that the wise man is the one who gives up all the desires? It only means that a wise man enjoys a condition of mind where there is no need for the desires to arise. Meaning he has grown out for the need for the desire. And when is a desire, as I said, when there is a sense of incompleteness or lack within myself. That means the wise man is the one who is free from lack, and therefore the desires do not arise. The cause for the desire is a sense of lack, sense of incompleteness, a want within myself. And that's why Taittiriya Upanishad describes knowledge in this sense. Yo veda nahitam guhayam parame vyoman sosnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschiteti. Says Brahman is Satyam Jnanavanantam Brahma. Brahma or God is Satyam Jnanavanantam. It is truth, it is awareness, knowledge, it is limitless. Where is it? Yo veda nahitam guhayam. Guhayam nihitam. It is that which dwells in the guha or the cave of my heart. That Brahman or God, who is truth, who is knowledge, who is limitless, is not away from me. It is the one that abides in my own heart as my very self. Yo veda nahitam guhayam parame vyoman. How come at the moment I don't know myself to be Brahman? Parame vyoman. Only when the heart becomes like space, meaning becomes pure, becomes shining, becomes formless, that then alone the Atma that is formless shines there in its true form. And when this knowledge is gained, knowledge of the true nature of the self is gained, so shnute sarvan kaman saha. Upanishad says that the wise man who knows the self as Brahman, the limitless, he experiences or enjoys all the desires simultaneously, or all the pleasures simultaneously. So shnute sarvan kaman saha. Saha means simultaneously, together. That person enjoys all the desires simultaneously. Imagine if all the desires were to be fulfilled simultaneously. What would be the amount of joy? Limitless. Brahmana vipaschitesi, Brahmana vipaschita. Because he himself is Brahman, which is vipaschit, meaning which is the nature of awareness. And therefore, as Brahman, the wise man enjoys all the desires or all the desirable things simultaneously. The meaning is that the very knowledge is of the nature of joy. The knowledge of the self itself is of the nature of joy. You don't require anything else to be happy. So knowledge of the self itself is happiness. There is one case where knowledge and happiness are one alone. Knowing myself also is being happy because the self is of the nature of happiness. And that is what is said in the second line of the verse, Atmaneva Atmana Tushtaha. The wise man is Tushtaha, completely satisfied within himself, by himself. Meaning for satisfaction or happiness, he doesn't need anything other than himself. Because he himself is sufficient to be happy. And this is the truth of our life. That in fact, we ourselves are sufficient to be happy. Really speaking, we don't need anything else at all because the self is of the nature of happiness. Except a wise person knows this and ignorant does not know, there is the only difference. The self is the same whether the person is wise or ignorant. The wise one knows the self to be of the nature of happiness. So he knows the self as happiness. Therefore, no effort on the part of the wise person to be happy. Finds himself happy effortlessly. And when I am happy, where is the scope for desire? The moment when I am happy or completely satisfied, at that moment there is no desire in my heart. Even today. At the moment when I find myself very happy, at that time desire cannot be. Desire can be when I am not happy. Then I want to be happy. But when I am happy, what do I want to be? I don't want to be anything. Because I am what I have been wanting to be. So the reason behind every desire is to be happy. And therefore when I find myself happy, it is a fulfillment of the desire. So in the heart that is happy, at that moment at least, there cannot be a desire. Yes, if there is a lack of happiness or there is a degree of happiness, meaning I feel that I am not happy enough, then there can be desire to be happy enough. But suppose I am happy enough, in that case there cannot be a desire. Wise man is happy. That wisdom is the nature of joy or happiness. And therefore there is no need for a desire. That's the reason why all the desires have left his mind. It is not that he has given up desires. It is that desires have left him. There is no reason for the desires to arise. Because the very ground for the desire, namely a want or incompleteness, is not there. So two things are there. That's the reason why all we have to understand is that as long as there is a desire in my mind that shows a sense of lack or incompleteness within me, because desire can be only for something that I do not have at the moment, and thus I feel that if I have something or if I experience something, that I will be complete or I will be happy. So it is that lack or want within myself alone that is responsible for the arising of the desires in my mind, and that lack can go only when I discover myself to be free from lack. And that is the knowledge of a wise man, and therefore there is no scope of desire. And so when desires do arise in my mind, what should I do with them? Should I go ahead and satisfy them right away? Well, this verse tells us that a wise man can be completely free from desire, meaning he enjoys a state of mind where the desires are no more there. Then perhaps I should also scrutinize whether the desires which arise in my mind, are they legitimate or valid desires? And thus we should scrutinize. Nobody would say that you should reject the desires or suppress desires or disown the desires. We have to be honest with ourselves. However, just because the mind demands something does not mean that it can be a legitimate demand or it can be a right demand. Mind demands security, happiness, naturally, because it thinks it is insecure and unhappy. But is it so? Is it true? I do feel a sense of limitation, a sense of lack. It is all right. But is it genuine or is it right? Is it valid? Let us put it this way. my knowledge of myself, that I am an incomplete being, is it a valid knowledge? If it is valid knowledge, fine, go ahead and attempt to make yourself complete. But first of all, determine this, whether is it valid? Yes, whenever I look at myself from a certain standpoint, then I find myself an incomplete being, no doubt. When I look at myself from the standpoint of the body, no doubt I am a mortal being, subject to birth and death. Or when I look at myself from the standpoint of the mind, I am an incomplete being. When I look at myself from the standpoint of the intellect, I am incomplete with reference to knowledge. But then the sense of incompleteness that I feel about myself arises because I do not look at myself as I am, but then I look at myself from a given standpoint. But then this body, this mind, the intellect, all of these are the tools, the vehicles that I have for performing certain functions. Who am I? Who dwells in the body? Well, the body is the dwelling place. The indweller is not the dwelling place. The self that dwells in the body has to be different from the body. And the mind and the intellect are the instruments that are used for performing various functions, like perception, like learning, like knowledge and all of these. But they are not myself. And so let the desire arise. And we don't dismiss the desire. Let us analyze the source of desire. Where do I feel that lack? Why there is a desire? I'll find that lack is there because I am identified with something. Identified with my body, or identified with my mind, or identified with my intellect, and therefore I become of the size or of the dimension of the body, mind or intellect. But then, is there a validity about it? That identification arises from ignorance. Thus we will be able to see how desires arise from ignorance. You go ahead and satisfy your desires, but know that desire arises. At least understand this, that desires have their origin in ignorance. And that fulfillment of a desire will not eliminate that ignorance which is the cause. So we keep providing symptomatic treatment for ourselves. As the desires arise, as the lack arises, we try to satisfy that. But then the desire per se does not go away because the very cause, namely ignorance, remains. The sense of incompleteness continues to remain. It just gets covered momentarily when a desire is satisfied. Again it appears, and in the form of another desire. So here Lord Krishna identifies desire as the first evidence of what we call ignorance. That is the first obstacle to the avoidance of the knowledge. And thus, by analyzing the nature of desire and understanding that even after fulfillment of the desire, that I do not in any way change anything, because the ignorance cannot go by fulfilling desire, which is a product of ignorance, or by fulfillment of the desire even that lack will not go, because again it is arisen from ignorance. This is how a person becomes free from these cravings or desires. So Shankaracharya said, Tyakta putra vitta lokaishanaha sannyasi. One who has renounced all these various desires which arise from aviveka or non-discrimination, with the help of viveka or discrimination. So first step that is required in our life is viveka or discrimination. That when desires arise, when reactions arise, when thoughts arise, let us take time to scrutinize them. What is their source? Why do they arise? And what do I seek to achieve as a result of fulfillment of these desires? Also let us understand that. And what have I so far achieved by fulfilling variety of desires? Have I grown any more satisfied person than before? I may have grown wealthier. I may have grown famous. I may have grown bigger. But have I grown to be a happier person or a more content person? I will find that any amount of external gain does not make me more happier than what I am. Some internal growth does make me happier. And all of this we discussed at great length in Tattvabodha while discussing Viveka, Vairagya, etc. So this becomes therefore the first step here in order to understand the nature of self and in order to gain an abiding knowledge of the self is to release the mind from these desires, the demands, which are not legitimate. As we said, there are certain demands which can be classified as legitimate. For example, maintenance of this body. Certain basic requirements are there for sustenance of life. Like body has natural needs for hunger and thirst, and it's its basic protection and shelter. And we would not say that these desires are necessarily illegitimate because they are there to satisfy to sustain the life. But other desires we're talking about. Desire for food, I think, is a valid desire, it's a natural desire. But a certain kind of food, that's a cultivated desire. And eating only in a certain place is a cultivated desire. That there is a need for a shelter is understood, but the 16-bedroom house with 15, car garages and things of that is all cultivated stuff. It has nothing to do with the need for the shelter. It has to do with the need someplace here, which is an imaginary need. So, people are running after things. I think that there are certain genuine requirements which people have and that should be there. But then we keep on creating desires, creating requirements, because we find there is some void inside and we hope to fill up that void by surrounding ourselves with all kinds of things. Is it going to work? We have to ask these fundamental questions and thus make the mind see the nature of the desire, which is not legitimate. It is arisen from in not understanding the nature of things. Okay, now that's the lesson we take from this verse. Now continuing the description of the wise man. How does he respond to different situations? This is in his mind, that his mind is free from desire, and that when he says free from desire, meaning he has grown out of desire. Understand? Freedom from desire does not mean that he suppresses desire, or he dismisses desire, or he turns his back from the desire. It is that he has grown out of desire. Later on it will be said, Param rasavarjam rasopyasya param društva nivartate. Whenever we discover something better, the desire for the lesser goes away. When I get a car, the desire for a motorbike perhaps will go away. When I get a big house, the desire for a small house will go away. Thus, in general, as we keep discovering better things in our life, the desire for the inferior things automatically drop away. So apparently wise man has discovered something which cannot be improved upon, and that is a self, which cannot be improved upon. And therefore there is no desire for anything less. There is no desire at all, because he has achieved, in short, what he is seeking, namely total fulfillment. And that is the self. Self is of the nature of total fulfillment, which he has known, and therefore there is no desire. So very often when we listen to Vedantic talks and they talk about giving up desire, it's just such an unnatural thing. As we said, you cannot give up desire. Desire does not arise by seeking my permission, it just arises. I can scrutinize the desire, and I can see the source of desire and recognize the desire as not a valid thing, and thus I can resolve the desire by what we call discrimination or analysis. But I cannot say, desire, you arisen, I'm sorry, I'm not going to entertain you. It will make sure that it is entertained. It bugs me. I can perhaps brush aside, by diverting my mind someplace, but again when the mind becomes free, it again comes back. It will keep on bugging you. So desire cannot be ignored or cannot be suppressed. Desire has to be understood and analyzed, and that is how it has to be resolved. Now, this is this internal condition with which where we have no entry. But how does this freedom from desire, meaning freedom from dependence, we also said yesterday that desire is an expression of dependence also. Desire shows, when I desire something, it shows that I am dependent upon that thing for my happiness or security. I desire something, if I don't have it, I find myself incomplete or unhappy. And so the very desire or attachment shows a dependence. And freedom from desire also means freedom from dependence, meaning an independence, which is what we call freedom or moksha. How does that freedom express itself in his day-to-day life? is now what is being said in the next two verses. In several verses, but vrajeda kim sthitadihi kim prabhasheta. How does it talk? Talking is not in terms of language. How does it respond? When he is confronted with various situations, how does he respond to the situations? That's where also we can learn something from him. And so the next verse, verse 56 says, Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodaha sthitadhir muniruchyate. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. Dukkha means pain. So dukkeshu, in situations which can be classified as painful situations. And that there are three sources of pain and three sources of pleasure also. So generally speaking, three sources of pain are identified. Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika. There can be pain from my individual being, from body. There can be pain because of the body. Body may be suffering from some illness and whatever. There can be pain from my mind also. There can be some emotional disturbance. So there can be pain either in the body or there can be pain in the mind also. I may be sad, I may be worried, I may be anxious, I may be hurt, and all kinds of things. These are also painful situations. So pain can be caused by what we call the individuality, which is called adhyatmika. Pain can be caused also by the elements around me, adibhautika. Heat and cold and perhaps my neighbors and the people around me, and then all kinds of things can also cause me pain. They used to identify pain as vyagra, sarpa, chora, etc. Like a tiger, like a snake, like a thief. All of these are also causes of pain. They are called adibhautika, the pain arising from the environment around me. Pain can be from my neighbors, from my not friends really, but from people around me. That can be pain. There can be pain from cats and dogs bite and stuff like that, So all of these pain can be classified as adibhautika. And third is the pain that can arise from what we call cosmic forces. Like there can be an earthquake, there can be a storm, there can be a blizzard, all kinds of things can be there which can also cause pain. This we will call adidaivika. Adhyatmika, adibhautika, adidaivika. Pain arising from individual being, pain arising from the environment, pain arising from the cosmic happenings or cosmic forces. So when all these different kind of pains, and then there is no one here who will be spared of these pains, whether man is wise or otherwise. It is the nature of the situations to bring pain and pleasure to us. How does a normal person respond to pain? By udvega. If I am confronted with a painful situation and I cannot retaliate, or I cannot eliminate it, I cannot remove it, and then I meekly suffer that pain. And that kind of feeling that arises in me is called udvega. I get perturbed. So when I meet with a painful situation, I get perturbed. And sukheshu vigataspruhaha. Similarly also, when sukha or a pleasant situation arises, that can also arise from body. I am feeling very good with my body. I am feeling very good with my mind. That can give me happiness. Or happiness can also arise from situations around me, from the friends, from my neighbors, from same cats and dogs and animals also. All of these can also cause me happiness. Or there can be happiness caused by cosmic events. My stars are very favorable, and so they can also cause me pleasure or happiness. So just as there can be pain from these three sources, there can be pleasure also from the same three sources. And when we confront this pleasure or what we call happy situation, how do we respond? We respond with spruha. We want more and more of it. Usually when we meet with painful situations which are unpleasant, situations which are unfavorable, we don't want them. And when we find that we cannot avoid them, we feel totally helpless. A sense of helplessness that arises, a sense of perturbance that arises, a sense of suffering, that hopelessness that arises in me, or sadness that arises in me when I am confronted with painful situation is generally what happens to an ignorant person. On the other hand, when I meet with what we call pleasant situations, then I welcome them. I want more and more of them. Spruha. Spruha means a desire for more and more of that happiness or pleasure arises in me. Like fire. If you pour butter in the fire, how the fire leaps, the flames leap and want more and more of it. And so in my mind today, if you give me pleasant situations, then I wish to, suppose you praise me, I want more and more of that. Give me good food, I want more and more of that. Give me comfortable situation, I want more and more of that. I want that it should never go away from me. It should always remain with me. So this, like the fire growing when the butter is poured, similarly mind also grows in its craving for happiness as it gets more and more. This particular thing is called spruha, which is what an ignorant person or a common person has. So to contrast the wise man from the common person, it is said here, Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. He doesn't get perturbed, he doesn't get disturbed, he does not react with any kind of helplessness or sadness when he meets with painful situations. Nor does he get elated, or does he jump in joy or whatever, because he meets with what we call pleasant situations. Is it because the fellow is insensitive? This also can happen. Somebody just doesn't feel the pain, is not sensitive at all. Then also he may not react. Or somebody is not sensitive to pleasure or happiness, then also the person cannot react. Is it the lack of reaction that we find in the wise man, that poise of the mind that is able to maintain in all these pleasant and unpleasant situations, is it because of a lack of sensitivity? No. The reason is given in the second line, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. Because Sthitadhihi also meaning the one who abides in this knowledge is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. The one from whom Raga, Bhaya and Krodha, they have gone away. Raga means attachment. Bhaya means fear. Krodha means anger. Since his mind is free from this attachment or craving for the pleasure and fear and anger, therefore he enjoys the poise of mind, not because he is insensitive. So wisdom makes the mind free from attachments, means cravings, free from fear and free from anger. This is how we can see the direct, immediate result of the wisdom. Or to the extent that we have gained this wisdom, to that extent we become free from this. Where is raga? Raga means attachment. What is meant by raga is that I feel happy in presence of a given thing. Or in absence of it, again I feel unhappy. So when a thing can make me happy by being present, or the thing can make me unhappy, I miss something when it is not there, understand that that relationship is called raga. And dvesha is just the opposite. That I am unhappy because something is there, and I feel happy when that thing goes away, I can get rid of it. Then that kind of a reaction is called dvesha or aversion. So this attachment and aversion is a kind of relationship that we generally have with the objects, things and beings of the world. As it is said in third chapter, we said, Indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthitau. That with reference to various objects of the senses, there is a relationship of raga and dvesha. There are things that I like, I would like to have them. And there are things that I dislike, I would want to avoid them. There were many things about which I am indifferent. I don't care whether they are there or not, whether this pond is there or not, doesn't matter to me. This tree is there, alright. This neighbor is there, doesn't matter to me. Today these things don't matter to me. I am indifferent to them. But definitely each one of them has the potential of becoming an object of like or dislike someday. If someone asked me to plunge into the pond, perhaps I would not like it if it is cold. Or if it is very hot season, maybe perhaps jumping into the pond might be something pleasurable. So all the objects of the world, either I have for them an attachment or aversion, or they have the potential of creating an attachment or aversion under a given situation. And when there is an attachment, then I am dependent on that thing, because I cannot be happy without that. I am happy in presence of that, or when I experience that, or when I possess that, or I am unhappy when it's the opposite. I don't possess it, I don't have it. And this makes me dependent upon the situations and the objects. And what it causes is fear. When I want something badly, or I must have it, there is always a fear of losing it, or not having it, or some obstacle coming and causing a separation between me and what I love. And thus when an obstacle comes to something that I desire, and I cannot retaliate, or I cannot remove that obstacle, I cannot do anything about the situation, then that sense of helplessness that I feel ultimately results in what we call fear. Bhaya. I'm afraid that this thing will go away. I'm afraid that some unpleasant thing will come. And when I feel that I'm able to do something about the situation, that let me see how some unpleasant thing comes to me, then what arises is krodha or anger. So when I feel that I'm able to retaliate or respond to a situation, then krodha or anger will arise. Suppose I want something badly and someone comes in the way of my acquiring that, definitely I'm going to be angry. Anger arises whenever the expression of my desire is stifled. When I like something very much and there is an obstacle to that, it is going to arouse an anger in me. When I think that I can actually remove the obstacle. When I find that I cannot remove the obstacle, it creates in me an udvega, or the possibility of not being able to get it creates in me a fear. So raga, bhaya and krodha, attachment, fear and anger, these are the products of what we call ignorance. Why do you say that? These look like very natural feelings. They are natural feelings, but then they have their source in ignorance. Because why am I attached to a thing in the first place? I superimpose happiness upon a thing. I think that when I get a certain object, that I'll be happy, because I think that the object promises me happiness. Object delivers happiness to me. Or by the same token, I see unhappiness in some other object, and therefore I have aversion for that. The truth of the matter is, a thing inherently cannot either give me happiness, nor can it give me unhappiness. Because if a thing could give me happiness, it should give me happiness all the time. Or it should give happiness to everyone. But something that makes me happy can make my neighbor quite unhappy. The very stereo which makes me so happy, I switch on, the neighbor is just, he just comes and shouts at me, because the very same thing makes me so unhappy. In India, when you are traveling in buses and public transportation, even though there is a very clear notice there, smoking prohibited, very often people don't observe that. They start smoking. Now he's my neighbor, he's sitting beside me, and he enjoys the smoke. And the very smoke comes in my nose, which I hate. So very same thing which can make someone happy, can make someone equally unhappy. And thus, when we analyze the nature of things by themselves, objectively, then we realize that happiness cannot be inherently the content of anything, nor can unhappiness be a content of anything. Both of them are something that is projected by my mind. Therefore, even attachment and aversion itself is an expression of ignorance, not knowing the true nature of things. And therefore, ignorance creates attachment and aversion. They in turn create fear and anger. And therefore, in the mind of a common person, there is attachment, aversion, fear, anger, all of this is there. And therefore, when I meet with a pleasant situation, because of attachment, I want it. I want to hold on to it. Even though a person knows that what comes will go away, and still I want to hold on to the thing. And thus I create a situation where again, someday I will have to be disappointed, because what comes does go. In any case, there is a nature of the thing that I want something to remain with me, it has a tendency to leave me. And I want something not to come to me, it always wants, uninvited things come to me. And thus constantly we keep on reacting with udvega and spruha. Only we get sad inside or we get elated, and thus the mind always goes in a seesaw. Wise man enjoys the poise of mind because on account of knowledge of the nature of things and nature of the self, his mind is free from raga, dvesha, attachment, aversion, fear, anger and whatever. Sthitadhihi munihi uchyate. He is called munihi. Munihi means a wise person. Man means to think. Munihi is a thinking person or in a person of knowledge, enlightened person. So such an enlightened person does not react to the situations because does not see any need to react. And even we also don't react to situations. The moment when you are happy internally, then we find the whole world is nice. See, when I find that I am good or I am happy with myself, I find myself happy with everything. When I am unhappy with myself, I find again myself unhappy with other things also. This person is happy at home with himself, and therefore he is at home with everything else also. And therefore no reactions of udvega or no reactions of spruha. Neither elation nor depression. He is free from this kind of cycles because he is free from raga, bhaya and krodha, attachment, fear and anger. And therefore also the 57th verse, यस सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. यस सर्वत्र अनभिस्नेहः. Sneha means affection. Abhisneha, excessive affection or excessive attachment. Yes, sarvatra anabhisneha. One is not excessively attached to anything. Sneha or affection, I guess, is the nature of a wise person. That he is affectionate to everyone, as it will be said in the 12th chapter. Adveshta sarabhutanam maitraha karunaha evaha. Evacha. One who doesn't have dvesha or aversion for anything. Maitra, one who is friendly to everyone. And karuna, one who is compassionate to everyone. So that natural affection is there. But abhisneha, an excessive attachment is not there. And what is meant by excessive attachment? That when there is a sympathetic response in me, suppose I am excessively attached to my son, that if my son is successful in an examination, I feel that I am successful. When that fellow fails, I feel that I have failed. When very often it happens that the son gets ill, the mother is so attached to the child, mother also falls ill, as though she also suffers from the same thing. So very often we find ourselves sympathetically undergoing the same kind of a change that the object of our attachment is going through. Particularly the body. Dehe pushte aham pushtaha, dehe naste aham nastaha. When the body is doing well, I am very happy. Body is not doing well, I am very unhappy. My family is doing well, I am happy. They are not doing well, I am unhappy. Friends are doing well, I am happy. Not doing well, I am unhappy. So this kind of a relationship that I have is called abhisneha, an excessive attachment. Yes, sarvatra anabhisneha. He is free from this kind of an excessive attachment because his freedom or security does not depend upon any given setup or any given thing. He has discovered that freedom and security from within himself, and therefore, see, when there is attachment always is a demanding situation. When I am attached to something, there is always a demand that thing should always satisfy my desire or my requirement. This is called attachment. In love is different from attachment. In love there is always giving. In love there is fullness and therefore always giving. In attachment there is emptiness and therefore there is always demanding. So abhisneha, excessively attached. These people who are excessively attached to their family or friends are equally demanding. That you demand that your children should function in a certain way, that a friend should always treat you in a certain way, that a family always should, behave with you in a given way. Thus, where there is attachment, there is always a demand. This wise person is free from any kind of a demand. This is a sign of freedom from attachment. He doesn't demand that the world should be like this. He doesn't demand that the people should be like this, this and this. He doesn't demand that anything should be other than what it is. That shows that he is able to be at home with the situations and things and beings as they are. So, yes, sarvatra anabhisneha, one who doesn't have any excessive attachment for a given thing, which means that one who is at home everywhere. When I am attached to a given thing, I can be at home there, but not elsewhere. Not attached to anything doesn't mean again he is insensitive. It means that he is at home with everything. He is equally happy with everything, and therefore there is no one thing which he requires in order to be happy. Tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti. Tattat prapya shubha ashubham. And the destiny brings to him variety of situations which can be classified as shubha and ashubha. Shubha means favorable, conducive, or happy, or agreeable. And ashubha means unfavorable, disagreeable, unhappy. Thus destiny, as it brings to everyone, for the two wise men also, destiny brings shubha and ashubha, ishta and anishta, desirable and undesirable, or pleasant and painful, agreeable and disagreeable. These kind of situations are constantly brought to the wise person, as they are brought to anyone else. Na abhinandati na dveshti. When I am confronted with what I call a conducive or a pleasurable situation, abhinandati, I jump in joy and I feel very happy and I praise the person who has been the source of my joy, which is fine. But suppose somebody causes me pain, then what? Immediately then I also condemn that person. So usually an ordinary person praises and condemns, stuti and ninda. Ninda means censure, condemning, and stuti means praise. So usually these are the common responses that come from us, from an ordinary people or people who are not wise. Makes me happy, somebody says some good things about me, somebody creates a nice situation for me, then I praise that thing. And somebody else does the opposite, immediately I censure that person. So stuti and ninda, pleasure, praising or condemning, these are the kind of responses that ordinary people have. Wise man is free from both of them. He neither praises anybody nor does he condemn anybody, because he finds everybody fine. He finds praise comes when I find somebody better than something else, or I condemn something when I find somebody, well, inferior to something else. He doesn't see that. He finds everything quite okay. He finds everything perfect, let us say, because everything on one hand is mithya, or everything on the other hand is Brahman alone. He sees his own self reflected everywhere, and therefore doesn't find anything to be condemned, nor does he find anything to be praised. So, na abhinandati, na dveshti. And that is how also he is able to maintain what we call a balance or poise of his mind. Tasya prajna pratisthita. Only for such a person, prajna or the wisdom becomes pratisthita, becomes abiding. When can the knowledge of wisdom become abiding? When the mind doesn't react. Mind doesn't go up and down like a seesaw, now elated and then depressed. In that mind cannot be steady. In there the wisdom can never abide, cannot be steady. The mind is steady or abiding because it is a non-reacting mind. And non-reacting not because out of force you do not react. Non-reaction does not mean that you don't express your reactions, or that you have made yourself insensitive not to feel anything. On the other hand, there is no need for reactions to arise. Reactions, again as we said, are nothing but the products of ignorance or not understanding the nature of things. But on account of wisdom, this wise man is free from all reactions. It is reactions that bring about stuti and ninda, praise and censure. So such things do not arise in him because he sees everything as fine. And then we can also see that the pleasure and the pain, both of them are part of life. And regardless of what we do, we cannot avoid them, because that's the story of the human life. We can like the wheel which goes up and down, and so also the situations will keep on going up and down. Now it is pleasant and then it is painful. This being the case, he accepts the situations as they come and respects things as they come. Therefore in pleasure, he doesn't just jump in elation, nor in pain does he get depressed or sad. And thus, this is how the wise man is on account of his wisdom. But these become the values for those who want to be wise, for those who are seeking knowledge. And what's the value? Vitaraga bhaya krodha, that he is free from attachments and fear and anger. And therefore, we should also realize that attachments, anger, fear, all of these are products of ignorance, and therefore when they arise in our own mind, we should scrutinize them. Not simply come under the sway. Anger arose, then I come under the sway. Fear arose, again I come under that sway. They will arise because of a habit, but then we should look at them, scrutinize them, and determine the causes. And also, the situation of condemning things, blaming things, dismissing them, censuring them, that also does not in any way, because even if I criticize things or I censure things, it doesn't change anything. So it's better that we understand that these are also facts of life, that things can be unpleasant, things can be imperfect. Everything has its virtues and everything has its limitations. Sometimes you may be exposed to the virtue, sometimes you may be exposed to the limitation. Both of them are facts of life and have to be accepted in an objective manner. Tasyevam harsha vishadavarjasya vivekaja prajna pratishtita bhavati. For a person such as this, who is harsha vishadavarjitah, who is free from elation and depression, vivekaja prajna, that wisdom that is born as a result of the discrimination between the self and the non-self, pratishtita bhavati, it becomes abiding. So these two verses tell us how does a wise man respond to various situations. The next verse tells us how does he remain with himself. Suppose he is not doesn't have to respond to any situations. So what sort of a control does he have over his mind? Or how is he when he is with himself? And that Lord Krishna explains in the verse 58 with a beautiful illustration. Yada samharate chayam kurmangani va sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. Give the illustration of a tortoise. Kurma means a tortoise. Angani sarvashah samharate. So whenever when there is some fear, then the tortoise effortlessly withdraws all his limbs under the shell. That's how the tortoise does. So whenever there is some kind of fear, how it withdraws all at will. How the tortoise at will is able to withdraw all its limbs under his shell. And similarly also, indriyani indriyarthebhyah yada ayam samharate. And so normally my sense organs are out in the world among the sense objects. But at will, if I am able to withdraw my sense objects from the sense organs, like a tortoise withdraws at will all his limbs from when it desires, if that kind of a control of mind I have, then tasya prajna pratishtita, then the prajna of the wisdom can become abiding. That this is the kind of a control or a mastery that the wise man has over his mind, that he can withdraw his mind at will. He can shake off things from his mind also at will. There can be sometimes temporarily, effects of the situation, but one can shake off. Swami used to give illustration of a Tanjore doll. It's a doll having a very heavy base. And so if the doll is standing like this, with a heavy base, if you tilt it, it will again become erect. Tilt another direction, become erect. Why? Because there is a heavy base. And so also, even the mind gets tilted momentarily. On account of the situation, immediately again it regains its composure. And so, here the wise man is described as the one who has this mastery over the mind, that at will he can withdraw his sense organs from the sense objects. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah samharate. Samharate. Samharate means withdraws, and very well withdraws. Withdraws at will. So one who has this, thus the ability to withdraw one's mind at will. When you say withdraw sense organs, we mean withdrawal of the mind. That the mind may be running out in various pursuits or various preoccupations, ability to withdraw. And that can be there only when the mind is reaction free. If the mind is running out because of attachment or aversion, then we'll see how it is not possible for us to withdraw the mind. We wish the mind should think of a certain thought and the mind continues to think what it thinks. I wish often that my mind should not think of a certain thought, it continues to think. I wish that my mind should be free from thoughts, it continues to think. And we therefore find that we do not enjoy a mind which is under our control, or let us say, which does what we want it to do. That we do not enjoy that mastery over the mind, that we can apply the mind where we want to apply. More often than not, the mind has its own way or own sway upon ourselves. Here on the other hand, this is a person who enjoys a mastery of the mind, and therefore is able to withdraw the mind at will from its preoccupations or from its pursuits, just as a tortoise is able to withdraw his sense organs within himself. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.